Good morning, Suprabhat, Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, Vanakkam. I welcome you all in our income tax session. Today we will be continuing our salaries provision, in which we have discussed in the last class till the provision for rent-free house. In the last session, we have discussed about retrenchment compensation, voluntary retirement scheme, medical facility perquisite, LTC provision, and specified employee and non-specified employee. So I believe you all must have revised those provision and working very hard to achieve the goal of your life to become a chartered accountant as soon as possible. So let me see if there is any question. Good morning, Kuldeep. Good morning, Adil. Good morning, Linga. Good morning, Ajay. Good morning, Santosh. Good morning, Navneet. Good morning, Akash. Okay. Good morning, Pooja. Prerna, good morning. And Lakshmi, good morning. Shalini, good morning. Shamli, good morning. So I welcome you all once again in our class. And today we will be completing our salary some very important and interesting provisions of rent-free house. There would be a very interesting provision of car perquisite and some mobile asset utilization perquisite, some other kind of perquisite, because in the salary topic, as we have discussed, we have completed our allowance part, we have completed the compensations part, we have completed the basic salary, advanced salary concept. The only thing which has been left is mainly is perquisite. And then the deductions, three simple deductions, and relief concept has been left only, out of which 90% portion is perquisite, rather just 10% is for relief and deduction concept. Okay. Navneet is saying illustration 6, 7 and 10 थोड़ा clear नहीं है. Okay, तो हम clear कर लेते हैं Navneet. Okay, anyone have any problem in illustration which we have, which I have actually given you for homework? Illustration number 6, Navneet, but 6 is not actually, we have discussed 6, 7, 8 before class. In the last session, that homework was not related to today's session. But still, what is the issue in 6 illustration, Navneet? Kindly point it out, that illustration, exactly that issue. So I will just take that issue, whatever problem in that. Illustration 6 is retirement from 25-year of services. The particulars basic pay has been given in question out of receive unrecognized provident fund. Okay, you wanted to ask about the URPF. So I believe you must have gone through with the URPF provision. The question is very simple. If there is any particular point in which you have doubt, in case of URPF, the concept is this: when at a time of repayment, the employee contribution interest from URPF is going to be taxed as income from other source. An employer contribution as well as interest is going to be taxed in salary head of income. So in this question, you can see from URPF, we have received 6 lakh rupees, and the detail has been given as following. URPF employer's contribution 220 and interest, that is going to be taxed in salary head. That was 220 and 50,000. So that is going to be taxed under salary head. The interest portion of employee is going to be taxed under income from other source. That has been given in question 60,000. So it's simple. Illustration, now you are asking 7. What is in 7 illustration? Will your answer be different if the funds was recognized provident fund? What are you asking? These are very simple questions. Okay, I have doubt in 13, treatment of G, sister dependent in nursing home. Okay, I have given you some illustration in the last class. Students, if you have any problem in any illustration, let me know. Illustration 9, I guess I have given. I believe you must have solved. ओके नवनीत इज सेइंग ये सिंपल है सर, मैंने दूसरा पीडीएफ डाउनलोड किया होगा शायद, मे बी. ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम. So it's any illustration issue. Navni Adil wanted to ask in illustration number 13. Any problem before illustration number 13? Anyone? Good morning, Saipa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So Adil is having problem illustration number 13. So we are going to solve illustration number 13. Illustration 13 is for medical perquisite. And I have a doubt in 13 treatment of G point. G sister dependent in nursing home. So you can see G sister dependent in a nursing home, 3,000 rupees. So Adil, sister does not fall in the definition of family. So if you have gone through with the definition of family under medical perquisite, so that has not been included. And because it is in a nursing home, so that is automatically is going to be taxable. Okay, the reason is uh, she has treatment in nursing home. So we will go through with the definition of medical perquisite, and the provision says in case of medical facility, you can see employee and members, family, children, dependent, independent, married, but dependent parent, brother and sister in all the above cases. So sister, brother and parents will be included if they are dependent. Now in this question, you can see treatment of Mr. G's sister. Okay, she is dependent upon us. So that is included in the definition of family. But you will see the treatment is in a nursing home. It is not maintained or owned by the employer. It is not government hospital. It's a kind of a private institution. So if any treatment has been done in a private institution, that is going to be full taxable. You can see this is due to point number 5 over here. Because that's a private nursing home, that's why it's going to be taxed. That's why we have taxed it. If it is in government hospital or hospital maintained by employer, then she can claim the exemption. Correct. सॉरी सर 13 तक सब क्लियर है 10 समझ नहीं आया 10 it is an end game example as I have told you in the last class we will solve that example with the provision related to illustration number 10 we have not yet discussed that is going to be discussed at the end lecture or maybe before going to complete our test your knowledge questions. Okay. Harivansh is saying, I have doubt in illustration 5b exemption limit of third condition. But illustration 5 is not the part of today's class, Harivansh. You should ask in the last session. If it would be like this, we will it will be really difficult to solve old questions. It will consume our time, which we have to utilize for the purpose of provision. So that is a request from my side to all of you. It will waste not only my time, it will consume the time of all other students who have already tried it. So you have to be very disciplined. As I've always told you, work hard, discipline, planning is very important. What you are asking, 5B, third condition, so that is leave encashment provision. Have you gone through with the provision of leave encashment, Harivansh? It says you have to calculate 10 into AMS. So 10 has been given in the question. AMS you have to calculate. Okay. Try it. So if there would be any problem, we will discuss it. Okay. Anything else? No more queries. So before starting the class, there would be a thought for the day. And a very, very good thought for the day for all of you. That will make you realize one thing in your life. And you can see your goal of the life for right now is to become a chartered accountant as soon as possible. So that is your dream goal. Your family expectation is for to become a chartered accountant as soon as possible. So whenever you are doing something, you should ask this question to yourself. Get into the habit of asking yourself, does this support the life I am trying to create? So you are trying to create a better life for you to be a chartered accountant where there would be respect, money, etc. would be there. So if you are involving in any activity, if you are going into a party or you are going to function for 3-4 days, so ask yourself the decision you are taking, is it going to support for the future you are looking for? And please make this a habit for yourself. So what it will do whenever you are trying to waste your time intentionally or unintentionally, and if you'll ask yourself this question, maybe there would be some cases in which you will stop yourself from wasting of your time in that particular thing. So this is your future to be a chartered accountant, and for that future, you should have a habit to ask yourself that whatever I am doing, is it going to help me to create that future what you want? Okay, that was thought for the day for all of you. Meenu is saying good morning. Chalo. 3 months calculation is understandable. What exactly you wants to ask? Okay, chalo. Next is, so moving ahead, we were discussing the provision. Okay, so because we needed some interaction, so I want to ask some question from past session. In the last session, we have discussed some concept, and in which I would like to listen from you. Who will tell me the rule number 2B? Who will tell me the rule number 2B? That is for LTC exemption. I just want to know if anybody wants to explain rule number 2B in which we can claim LTC exemption in 3 different situations. When we travel via aircraft, when we travel via train, or in any other case. So who is going to explain that? Please raise your hand. So Shalini wants to explain that. Anyone else? Rule number 2B. I just need to listen that rule number 2B exemption. So can we unmute Shalini?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning.
Under LTC example provision, under optional tax regime is available. Rule number 2B is for shortest route, and first is aircraft, where economy fare or actual amount paid spent, whichever is lower is exempt. And second is train, first class fare, AC fare, or actual amount spent, whichever is lower is exempt. And third case is if train not exist in the place, then public transport or no public transport. In public transport, we consider deluxe or AC fare, which have all amount spent, whichever is lower is exempt. And in no public transport, first class AC, which we consider assume that there is अगर इधर ट्रेन चलती तो कितना रूट होता कितना स्पेंड होता और अमाउंट स्पेंट विच एवर इज लोअर इज एग्जेम्प्ट.
Correct, Shalini, but you just made a mistake in first one. Aircraft में you said economy class fare. So उसमें ना एक बात बोलेंगे हम economy class by national carrier. Because private जो airlines हैं उनका economy class fare से comparison नहीं होगा. जो हमारा national carrier है एयर इंडिया एयरलाइंस उनसे comparison करके हम निकालेंगे national carrier वाला. Okay? बाकी सब correct है. Well done. Good. So now, second is somebody going to tell me the definition of specified employee. There would be 2 kind of employee from the point of view of perquisite only. Because some perquisites are taxable and specified and some are non-taxable in case of non-specified. So who is going to tell me the 3 condition of specified employee? If any one of that condition has been fulfilled, you would be treated as a specified employee. So who is going to tell me? Dhanlakshmi wants to tell. Okay, Dhanlakshmi. Please go ahead. Please unmute Dhanlakshmi.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
3 conditions need to be satisfied. Employee and director of the company and substantial interest that they have voting right of more than 20% and monetary salaries which is exceeding 4 lakh per annum.
Monetary salary exceeding 4 lakh rupees yearly. Correct. Absolutely correct. Well done, Dhanlakshmi. Good to hear that. Okay, now somebody is going to tell me the medical facility perquisite if it has been taken outside India. So what are the amount which is going to be exempted and what is the specific condition for regarding gross total income also? So who is going to tell me the medical facility provision which has been taken outside India? Anyone? Dhanlakshmi again. So Dhanlakshmi and Shalini has explained. Anyone else? If there's anyone else who wants to be the part of this interaction, so I would like him or her to speak. Otherwise, I will ask to Dhanlakshmi. So students, you just need to tell me the medical facility outside India provision. Except Dhanlakshmi, is there anyone who wants to say or speak about this? Look, we have started this interaction because of your feedback. You gave feedback that sir needs to interact with us, need to ask some question like recap, etc. So BOS is so attentive for all these things that they ask that yes, there should be an interaction session. We will also going to solve some past year question also. That was also a part of your feedback. So we are giving you whatever you want, but you should be the part of also that interaction. So to whomsoever it may concern, those wanted to be the part of the interaction, they should participate. We are taking initiative. But if you will not give us the feedback back like the way you wanted, then what is the point of you giving that feedback, students? Okay, so Dhanlakshmi, you will tell us the provision for medical facility. But be little louder, Dhanlakshmi. Your voice is not that easy to audible.
If an employee is going abroad for a medical facility, along with the employee, there will be one attendant. For them also, there is an exemption for a stay and for the travel expenses and for the treatment. First, they will consider stay and the treatment. Later, they will consider the travel expenses.
You are not audible, Dhanlakshmi. Your voice, we are not able to listen. So I guess there is some problem at the part of Dhanlakshmi. Okay, so we'll carry on now with the provisions. So we are moving on to the provision of rent-free house perquisite. In the last class, we will start discussing the concept of rent-free house perquisite. And in that case, we have discussed that whether that rent-free house would be unfurnished or furnished. If it would be unfurnished, then it would be either we are receiving it from government employee or we are other than government employee. So you can see case number 1 for government employee. In that case, the taxable value would be license-free rent as per government rules as reduced by the rent actually paid by the employee. So that would be given in question, not to worry. The to be worried is case number 2, which says in case of other employees. In case of other employees, the nature of accommodation, we have to find it out first. Whether the house is owned by employer or house is on rent or on lease by the employer. In that situation, there would be three specific cases depending upon the population. So if the city population is more than 40 lakh, the taxable value would be 10% of salary during the period house is occupied. Suppose if the rent-free house has been for 7 months, then I have to find out the salary for 7 months and 10% of it would be my taxable value. If the population is 15 to 40 lakh rupee, 40 lakh, then instead of 10%, it would be 7.5% of salary. And in any city, that means less than 15 lakh. In case 5% of salary during the period house is occupied. So up to 15 lakh of population, 5%, then 7.5, then 10%. You just need to remember these percentage. If the property is on rent, then the percentage is same, 10% of salary or rent paid, whichever is lower. Remember, there should be rent paid. Fair rental value, rent as per government rules. That does not mean property is on rent. That would be just to confuse you. So it would have been specifically mentioned that the property is on rent or rent paid by employer word should be there. Then we will apply case number B. Else it would be case number A. Suppose in the question it has been written Mr. A has been provided a rent-free house and the fair rental value of the house is 10,000 per month. Understand? Fair rental value is 10,000 per month. Then that case would belongs to case number A, not B. Yes, if it has been written, Mr. A has been provided a rent-free house and the rent paid or lease paid by the employer is 10,000 per month. That would be the only scenario that case would fall in case number B. So you will see in case of rent-free house, the utmost important thing is the salary point. Because percentage is so simple to understand and solve in the question. 10, 7.5 and 5, that's it. But it is of salary. So what is the meaning of salary? That we need to understand to solve a question of rent-free house. And the salary meaning has been given over here. It says salary includes all monetary payments. All monetary payments. But in case of allowance, DA only that part which is for retirement benefits needs to include. So you must have remembered, let me show you one thing. In case of salary part 1, the salary part 1 provision we have discussed. The ideal format I have discussed with you and I have told you that please follow that format. So that will help you a lot when you solve questions. So perquisite point would be started from point number 8. So my rent-free house calculation would be start from point number 8. So if I have started my question of salary and I have considered basic salary initially, advanced salary initially, area of salary, taxable portion of gratuity, pension, etc. That would be in case of retirement only, generally. Okay. And fees, bonus, commission, and taxable portion of all allowances. So all monetary payments I have already considered till point number 6. So when there would be a time when I need to calculate the rent-free house calculation, then I have to find it out 10% of salary or 7.5 or 5. And the salary meaning is all monetary payment. But out of these all monetary payments, we will not consider point number 4 because that would be available after retirement. And of course, if retirement has been done, then there would not be rent-free house. Rent-free house would be there till retirement automatically. After that, that could be another part of salary. So practically, fourth point would not be the part of salary because it would be after retirement and we have to take the salary till retirement. Clear? Yes. If gratuity, pension, encashment is received during service, in some exceptional cases, if it is received during service, then we will consider gratuity, pension also for the purpose of calculation of salary because that is a monetary payment. So we can say all monetary payments during service we have to consider. So if I am following this format, so my rent-free house part would become at point number 8. And I have already all the monetary payments together before that. But only you have to remember one thing. All monetary payment total we need to take to calculate this 10%, etc. Practically, this would not be the part if it is after retirement. Area of salary we will not take and advanced salary we will not take. Because we need to take only due salary. So due monetary salary, fees, bonus, commission, all allowances. An exception in case of allowance, all taxable portion of allowances we will take, but DA only we will take that part which is per terms of employment. So if you want to understand in a normal way, the concept says all monetary payments which is due. That's why advance salary, arrear of salary, if that is given in question, we have to skip it for the purpose of calculation of rent-free house salary. All allowances we will take except D only that part we will consider which is for retirement benefit. So that is the meaning of salary definition. Note number 1 and note number 2. You can see advance salary and arrear of salary will not be included. Why it is not included? Because we need to take the salary which is on due basis. That's why arrear advance we cannot consider. So all monetary payments except advance salary, arrear of salary, compensation received after retirement, and DA if it as per terms of employment, we will need to consider. We will exclude advance, arrear, and compensation. Understood? That would be given in question. You just need to calculate it. If you have calculated the salary correctly in case of rent-free house, then let me tell you, your answer would be automatically correct because other thing is very simple. Just need to put percentage. Okay. Note number 3. Now case number 3. Value of furnished house. So unfurnished house provision has been done. So rent-free house, unfurnished accommodation, in which there would be two cases. Government, in which taxable value would be license fee, etc. In case of others, there would be two situations. Owned by employer. Everything would be given in question. You should remember the provision. Either on rent. If owned by employer, then on the basis of population, either 10% of salary, 7.5% of salary, or 5% of salary. If it is on rent, then population is irrelevant. 10% rent paid, whichever is lower. Salary means all monetary payments. DA only terms included. Percentage commission वगैरह all included, whether commission is percentage based or per month base, everything, because they all are monetary payments, bonus, commission, etc. Everything needs to include it. All taxable portion of allowance including, but DA only that taxable portion included, which is as per terms of employment. And you have to reduce, or you should not consider arrear of salary or advance salary and compensation if at the time of retirement. Understood? So that is the way we have to calculate the unfurnished rent-free house or accommodation perquisite. If it is furnished, then provision says, in case of furnished means you are having a house as well as furniture. That is the meaning of furnished. And unfurnished means you are only having a house. So when we need to solve the furnished accommodation provision, when? Then automatically we have to calculate the taxable value first as per unfurnished provision. So this part automatically included in this furnished provision. So first of all, we have to find out the taxable value as per unfurnished. Exactly same. Because additionally, we just need to add this furniture taxable value. House value to automatically need to be included. So as per unfurnished, we have to find out the taxable value. If it is government case, then of course as per government provision. If it is per other case, so there is nothing new because these condition needs to be applied as well as in case of furnished situation. The new point is the addition of taxable value for furniture. So this is new. In case of furnished case, this one is new. And how we need to calculate? It says whatever furniture has been provided by the employer, whatever furniture has been provided by the employer, whether it's bed, AC, TV, fridge, etc. 10% of cost we have to add back. So either the furniture which has been provided by the employer, that may be owned by the employer. So if employer is providing you a TV, fridge, AC, so maybe employer is the owner. So if employer has been provided you any furniture which he is the owner, then we will take 10% of cost as taxable value. And that taxable value needs to add back in your unfurnished taxable value. So whatever unfurnished house taxable value you have been calculated on the basis of these provision, you just need to add back 10% of cost if the furniture which has been provided by employer is owned by employer. Or the second situation would be it is on rent. The air condition, the TV, the refrigerator, the furniture which has been provided to you by the employer. He is not the owner. He has taken those things also on rent. So if it is rent, then we will add the rental value that would be given in question. The rental value needs to be added back. So either it would be one case, either the 10% of cost would be there or the rental value. Because either the furniture would be owned by the employer or it would have been taken on rent. Yeah, that is the possibility that if suppose TV, fridge and air condition that has been owned by employer. So for that we will take the 10% of cost. And suppose bed and sofa set etc. on rent. So we will add the rental value. That would be given in question and this 10% is per annum. 10% per annum of the cost, we have to include it. So again, as I have always told, that we are going through a numerical topic with the provision. So do not bother about it, what is happening, how we will calculate it. When we will solve some example of it, you will be able to understand, okay, that's the way we have to calculate the provisions. So let me see if there's any query. Mangala is saying, thank you for this thought sessions. It's very motivating every day. Grateful to you. Thank you. Meenu was explaining. Specified, non-specified. Okay, you are giving the answer what I was asked you to explain on unmute portal. Madeha is saying, okay. Navneet is asking, cost determine करना पड़ेगा या given? Of course, the cost would be given in question. देखो 10% of cost, cost question में given होता है. Numericals में सबसे अच्छी बात यही होती है कि सब कुछ given होता है. जो it's like a kind of a making a recipe. और रेसिपी बनाने के लिए जो जो इंग्रेडिएंट्स चाहिए होते हैं वो भी न्यूमेरिकल में दिए होते हैं. सारे इंग्रेडिएंट्स रखे होते हैं. इफ यू आर अ शेफ एंड आपको कोई रेसिपी बनानी है तो न्यूमेरिकल्स में फायदा क्या है ना, सारी रेसिपी का सब इंग्रेडिएंट रखा होता है. रेसिपी याद होनी चाहिए बस, तो रखा हुआ सब है. यू हैव टू जस्ट पुट इट अकॉर्डिंग टू द रेसिपी इफ यू हैव लर्न इट प्रॉपरली, सो यू विल बी एबल टू मीट. बट जो थियोरेटिकल प्रोविजन है उसमें कुछ नहीं होता. सो सपोज इफ इन द क्वेश्चन इट हैज बीन गिवन explain the provision for calculation of rent-free house, then there would be only one single line and you have to write it down everything by yourself. But in case of numerical, there would be all components would be there in the question. You just need to recall the provision and put them accordingly. So you would be able to solve it. Okay. No issue for Lakshmi, it happens. Okay, directors, employee. Riddhiben, commission as per percentage normal. So I've explained you all kind of commission, bonus, sab kuch we have to include in the case of salary for the purpose of rent-free house. We cannot take advance salary. We cannot take arrear of salary. We will not take compensation if it is after retirement. And if it is a dearness allowance, then only that part we will consider, which is for as per retirement benefit. So you will able to understand it very easily when we will solve this question with the help of numericals. Okay. Navneet, it should be monetary. Of course, it should be monetary. Chalo, moving ahead. With the help of provision. So case number 3 is the valuation for furnished house. Value as the house is unfurnished. So you have to calculate the value, the taxable value as the house is unfurnished, as we have discussed above, as per whether case A, government or other. Then for the purpose of furniture, we have to add 10% per annum of original cost of furniture. Furniture includes all home appliances. And for hired furniture, actual hiring charges. So either 10% would be there for any furniture or there would be hiring charges. After that, that would be my taxable value for furnished accommodation. Now, rent-free house does not ends right now. So we have discussed the unfurnished concept, we have discussed the furnished concept. But there would be another case. Case number 4 now is there. In practical life, generally it happens when an employer transfer an employee from one city to another city. Suppose an employee is working in Delhi and he was having rent-free house over here. Now employer transfer his job to Mumbai. An employer say, we will provide you a rent-free house there. We will provide you a rent-free house at Mumbai. But it will take some time. So generally, it's not that easy that you move on to some another city and there would be a rent-free house available for you. So maybe it will take 10 days, 15 days, 20 days. After that, company will provide you the rent-free house. So for that duration of 10, 20, and 25 days, there are some circumstances in which company says, okay, we will provide you a rent-free house after 20 days. So for that 20 days, either there could be a possibility that company will say, you find a place yourself and stay there. We are not going to pay anything. So either employer will not pay anything. You have to find out your residence for next 20 days. So of course, if employer is not providing you anything, if employer is not paying you anything, then there is no perquisite because it is your expenditure. Perquisite would be that case in which employer is bearing something on behalf of you. So if employer is saying you find the place for 20 days on your expenditure, we will not going to pay anything, then there is no perquisite. We do not need to solve anything. That is a technical expenditure, no treatment under salary act till now. But in some circumstances, for that temporary rent-free house, we can say this is a temporary rent-free house employer can provide you. Like employer can say, okay, you can stay in a hotel or any guest house or any lodge, etc., and we will pay you. So you find a hotel, lodge, homestay, whatever it is, for that temporary 20 days, and we will pay you. So that is not technically the rent-free house, it is a temporary rent-free house. So again, in that case, we have to text that also. And case number 4 is actually talking about this. Value of accommodation provided in a hotel by either government or other employer, taxable value will be the minimum of following. Very easy provision. And this is universal for all kind of employee. 24% of salary paid or payable for the year. Whatever is your salary for the whole year, you have to take the 24% of it, and do not worry. We just need to proportionate it also for the number of days you stayed. Suppose your salary is 10 lakh rupee and the salary meaning is same as per salary we have discussed above for rent-free house. So your salary, so suppose monetary salary is 10 lakh rupees. So you have to take the 24% of it. That means 2 lakh 40,000. Number of days in a year 365 and we stayed for 20 days. So technically, this is the way you have to calculate proportionate number of days of stay. So we have to find out the 24% salary paid or payable for the year, and we have to proportionate that as per the number of days you stay in that hotel. And the second point is, of course, that would be given in question, actual hotel charges you paid. And lower would be your taxable value. So very easy. You just need to remember 24% of salary for the whole year. First of all, calculate the whole year salary, take 24% of it, and then proportionate it into the number of days you stay in that hotel. Good news is, if the stay is less than or up to 15 days, if the temporary rent-free house is up to 15 days, then this perquisite would be exempted. If it is 16 days, then you have to calculate the 16 days calculation, full 16 days calculation. So, however, nothing will be taxable if following conditions are satisfied. Accommodation is provided for a period not exceeding 15 days, and that is due to transfer from one place to another. So if you get this rent-free house from one place to another, during transfer, and if it is not exceeding 15 days, then there would not be any taxability. This would be exempt. Let me tell you one more thing. Suppose I work in Delhi. I am doing my job at Delhi. An employer send me for 20 days to Mumbai for any training purpose or to attend any conference. So I'm not shifting to Mumbai. I would be back after 20 days. For that 20 days, employer provided hotel accommodation. Then this provision would not be applicable. For that, we have separate traveling accommodation perquisite that we are going to discuss later in this chapter. So this would be applicable when your is a job shifting is there. And that is also more than 15 days hotel perquisite is there. So if it is just a travel or a tour for 20 days, for that purpose, hotel accommodation would not be taxable like that. It should be for the purpose of shifting of job. So these two conditions are very important. If the hotel stay is not more than 15 days, and that is for transfer from one place to another for job, then exemption would be there. If it is for 16 days, then let me tell you again, in the first point, full 16 days proportionate salary we have to take in. And of course, 16 days payment, actual payment for 16 days, whichever is lower would be your taxable value. Clarification is there. Firstly, calculate 24% of salary for whole year and then calculate it for the period for which hotel is occupied proportionately on the basis of days. Still rent-free house not yet completed. The last case of rent-free house is case number 5. So we have discussed 4 cases till now. Nagaraja MP MLA, what is that question? MP MLA's amount what they receive does not fall under salary head. Okay. So because they are not the servant of government, they are the government. And because they are the government, that means the amount they receive from government would not constitute salary. So that's why in that case, these provision would not be applicable because these would be applicable in case of salary. Exact 15 days exempted Navneet. So now fifth case, we are moving on. If there is a question of salary, I believe in 95% cases, there would be rent-free house provision. There would be. So now in case of rent-free house, if you will see, we have discussed unfurnished. Unfurnished, there was 2 cases, government and others. Then we have discussed the furnished. Furnished was our third case, in which you have to find out the unfurnished taxable value first. Then you have to add back the furniture concept. Fourth case is, we can say temporary rent-free house, that is hotel stay, more than 15 days in job transfer. Then we have to find out the taxable value. Now the fifth case is what? So I'm just explaining you what are the difference between these cases. Now practically this also happens and it's very common case. Suppose Mr. A, who is doing job in Delhi, and he's getting rent-free house there. And the rent-free house is owned by employer. Clear? So his taxable value would be 10% because population is more than 40 lakh, 10% of salary would be the taxable value in case of rent-free house. Clear? Now suppose from 1st of August 2025, he has shifted to Mumbai. For job, employer send him to Mumbai. And also provided a rent-free house in Mumbai from this date. Instantly, he got a rent-free house at Mumbai on 1st August 2025. Now, practically, it is not that simple that the day you will be joining at Mumbai, you will vacate your Delhi house, which has been provided you as rent-free house. तो प्रैक्टिकली जब हमारा जॉब शिफ्ट होता है एक शहर से दूसरे शहर में, तो ज्वाइनिंग आपको 1 अगस्त से करनी है। बट ये इतना इजी नहीं कि 1 अगस्त को आप जैसे ही वहां पर रेंट फ्री हाउस अवेल करें, आप डेली वाला अपना एकदम वैकेट कर दे। इट टेक्स टाइम, सो इट इज नॉट प्रैक्टिकली हैपन that you, as well as you are going to shift from 1st August in a new Mumbai rent free house, you will vacate your Delhi house property. It will take time for moving the goods, the furniture, etc. from Delhi to Mumbai. Or there could be situation that suppose their that employee kids is having examination, so they will come after 2 or 3 months, or there is some situation that they cannot move instantly, family cannot move instantly, employee instantly came to Mumbai and occupied that rent free house. But there may be situation when the family cannot move, so there would be a situation, or there could be a situation when actually an employee is having two rent free house at the same time. He is availing technically two rent-free house at the same time. And you can see that could be a very practical problem. It's not that his intention is to occupy the both rent-free house, but there could be a practical situation that for the some time duration, there could be two rent-free houses. Now the problem is this, when you have two rent-free house, then which one we need to tax? This is our case number. That suppose if you have more than one rent-free house, then how the taxability needs to be done. So the provision explains that up to 90 days, or we can say up to 3 months, income tax say up to 3 months, we will only tax one. Only out of these two, you have to tax only one. Only one need to be taxed. Only one need to be taxed. And which one need to be taxed? We have to calculate the taxable value of both. We have to calculate the taxable value of both, and the lower is going to be taxed. I will give you an example of this after this provision of this case. So this is just calculation, nothing complicated we have to solve. So the lower is going to be taxed for next 3 months. So because he has shifted in August, so August, September and October, for 3 months, there is a benefit that you are occupying both rent-free houses, but only one is going to be taxed, and which is having lower taxable value, need to be taxed for 3 months. Even after suppose 3 months, he occupied the both houses. Suppose we can say for 5 months, he occupied both houses. So out of these 5 months, for 3 months, only one is going to be taxed. But after 3 months, that means for remaining 2 months now, both house taxable value need to be taxed. Delhi house taxable value as well as the Mumbai house taxable value. Both is going to be taxed in hands after 3 months. So if he occupied for 5 months, then for 3 months, there is a benefit, only one is going to be taxed. After 3 months, both need to be taxed. And suppose after 5 months, he vacate Delhi houses. That means August, September, October, November, December. Till December end, he vacate Delhi. So from January only, he is having till March, he is only having one house at Mumbai. Then normally Mumbai house is going to be taxed. So the special provision is for this duration. When any employee is having two rent-free house simultaneously, then up to 3 months, any one of them is going to be taxed, which is having lower taxable value. And even if after 3 months he is having those both rent-free house occupied, then after 3 months, both houses taxable value is going to be taxed until he vacate one of the property. Suppose after 2 months he vacate the property. He does not have that property simultaneously for 5 months. Only for 2 months he was having Delhi and Mumbai both house occupied. Then for 2 months only, what we will do? Only one lower value of house going to be taxed. Let me show an example so you will understand that there is just calculation and there is no new concept, just calculation. So let me show you the calculation, case number 5. So example. Suppose from 1st April till 31st July, an employee is working in Delhi. That means 4 months calculation. The details, the salary, that is monetary salary for the purpose of rent-free house, suppose has been given in the question 50,000 rupees per month. And house is owned by employer. From 1st August 2025, he has shifted to Mumbai and also availing one more rent-free house from that date. Clear? And from August till 31st of December, he was having both houses as rent-free house. When he shifted to Delhi, the salary becomes 60,000 rupees per month, monetary, for the purpose of rent-free house. You need not to calculate, suppose given in question. Now this property was on rent. So rent paid by employer was 5,500 rupees per month. From 1st January 2026, he was only one house at Mumbai. So technically, he vacated the property of Delhi house at the end of the December. So for 5 months, now so listen, in this part is normal. For this 4 months, there would be normal solution. And again, for these 3 months, there would be normal solution, only one house property going to be taxed. But for those 5 months, for which he has occupied two properties, the special provision is for this part. These are normal. Let me solve you this also. Because owned by employer, so taxable value would be 10% of salary. That is 5,000 per month. And this is for 4 months. So taxable value for this duration would be 20,000. Clear? Now for this duration, we have to see for 3 months, we have to tax the lower taxable value. And for 2 months, the provision says we have to tax the both. For the purpose of lower, we have to find out both taxable value. So we have seen that the Delhi taxable value is 5,000 per month. Now in case of Mumbai, we have to check the 10% of salary would be 6,000, but because it is on rent, so we have to compare it with the rent also. That would be 5,500 rupees per month. Sorry, Delhi would be 6,000 now because the salary has been changed. So for these now, 10% is 6,000. Now Mumbai is 6,000, 5,500. Whichever is lower is 5,500 rupees per month. So this will be the taxable value of Mumbai. And this would be the taxable value for rent-free house of Delhi. So out of these two, for 3 months, we will tax lower value. So technically, 5,500 into 3 is going to be taxed, and that would be 16,500 for these 3 months. Because he did not vacate the property for 3 months, so now both needs to be taxed. We have the taxable value of both houses. For Delhi houses, taxable value is 6,000. And for Mumbai, the taxable value is 5,500. So both needs to tax 11,500 for 2 months. So taxable value would be 23,000 rupees for these 2 months. Now the last 3 months, only Mumbai property needs to be taxed. And the taxable value is 5,500 into 3 months, 16,500. So now this plus this plus this plus this. This is the total taxable value of my rent-free house. And you can see if the salary has been given or you are able to calculate the salary, then the calculation of rent-free house is very easy to understand. You can take the screenshot, etc., whatever. But this case, again, very simple. They are just saying for 3 months we will tax one, and after that we will tax both. I hope it's clear now. Good. Sure. Moving ahead. That was case number 5. So that's why rent-free house is very, very important, because it is having multiple cases. But the treatment is easy. If you are able to find out the salary, that would be easy. So you can read it. Now a general note, and this general note not is only for rent-free house perquisite, but this is for all perquisite, all. And it's very common and very normal also, very genuine point. It says any amount recovered or received in respect of any perquisite. Employer has provided you a perquisite. And if any amount has been recovered from employee in respect of that perquisite, including rent-free house or any other perquisite, this note is for all perquisite applicability, will be reduced from the taxable value as calculated above. Suppose the taxable value for the rent-free house, in your case, suppose it's 52,000. So this is need to be taxed. But suppose in question says that employer charge 500 rupees per month for this rental facility from employee. So taxable value is 52,000, but employer charges 500 rupees for this perquisite from employee. Then we have to reduce this for the year is 6,000. So the taxable value would remain only 46,000. So for any perquisite, whether it's this perquisite or whether it would be LTC or the perquisite we are going to read in next topics, if there would be any perquisite taxable value, and if in the question it has been mentioned that there is a recovery of some amount from employee, then that amount needs to be reduced, whether it's medical perquisite, anything. Suppose I am an employer, you all are an employee. I have said you that I will provide you a perquisite of 10,000 rupees. You go and shopping for 10,000 rupees. I will pay. But for that, I will charge 2,000 rupees. So technically, the benefit is not for 10,000. How much the benefit is you? Benefit is only for 8,000. So automatically, how much is going to be taxed? Only 8,000. So perk mean the benefit, the amenities, the facility. So if anything has been charged against it, then it needs to be reduced from the taxable value. It's a general note applicable in case of all perquisites. I hope this thing is also clear now. Bal Murugan asking, in case employer charges more than the taxable value, would the additional amount is negative or is then considered nil? It would be nil. It cannot be negative. Suppose in the above case, like taxable value 52,000. And the question says employer charge 5,000 rupees per month. 5,000. So total would be 60,000. In that case, the perk value would be nil. There would not be any negative. Okay. Nagaraja is saying, sir, salary due to him only in respect of month during he has occupied the accommodation? Yes, exactly. So these, how to calculate salary is the main concept in rent-free house, and I will give you some illustration for your homework, and we will solve together also some questions. So that would clear you that how to calculate the salary. We are going to solve a lot of questions of last year questions, MTP, RTP in our salary session, because I believe that we will complete our salary theoretical part in the next session. So the last session would be in the sixth session. We are going to solve a lot of practice questions for past year question, etc. So that would actually going to clear each and everything. My request to all of you is just remember the provision correctly. Understand the provision what we are discussing, because the practice part I will do with you. Do not worry about it. Okay. Moving ahead. The next perquisite is car. So you can see a very beautiful car is there, but the car perquisite is there. But as the picture is beautiful, but not the perquisite. So it is having multiple cases in case of car perquisite. So we have to make a diagram for it. And this diagram I did not prepare and as a chart for all of you, because I believe because this chart is having multiple conditions. Multiple conditions. So if I'll prepare it myself and uploaded it in a PDF form in that Excel or other case, you won't be able to understand it that easily. So that's why I'm going to make this chart in this class. And of course, you should also practice after the class. You should make this chart yourself. So it will really going to all these provisions going to be very clear to you, as well as you would automatically going to learn those provisions, because there is very similar kinds of condition in this car perquisite. So first of all, you should understand what is the meaning of this car perquisite. Now, what is exactly happening? There's in case of rent-free house, employer was providing you a rent-free house, and you need to go there and you can stay there. That was the concept behind the rent-free house. Now, for the purpose of conveyance, for the purpose of travel, employer can provide you allowance like conveyance allowance, traveling allowance, transport allowance, transfer allowance. So either though you will get an allowance, and all provisions of allowance we have already discussed. If employer wants you to come to the office and he wants to drop you back without providing you any monetary payment, so there could be a cab facility. They can provide a cab, a bus, etc. So that's a general benefit to all the employees. And that is not going to be taxed. That is 100% exempt, because that is 100% for official purpose. Perquisite is going to be taxed when there is something paid by employer, something is given by employer for your personal purpose. As rent-free house does not have anything with the job. So rent-free house is a property which is you occupied for your personal or family purpose. That is why it's called a perquisite. So allowances we have already done. Cab facility is not, we are talking as a car facility. What we are going to discuss is car facility does not fall, not either in this case, not either in this case. The car facility means employer is going to provide you a car. Good, tax law type. So employer is going to provide you a car, because so that is a kind of a perquisite we are going to discuss. So either he's going to provide you a car, and also all the car expenses for the maintenance, petrol, etc. both has been provided by the employer. So if the car has been provided by the employer, in this perquisite is going to be taxed only in case of a specified employee, because this kind of benefit cannot be available to all employees. You must be a special employee. Either you're a director of a company, you are having 20% share, or your cash salary is more than 4 lakh rupees. So if employer is providing you a car as well as he also providing you expenses, so that would be a case in which is going to be taxed only for a specified employee. There could be a case when employer is providing you car, only car, no expenses. Expenses you have to pay yourself. Even this case is taxable for specified. If the car has been provided by the employer, if the car has been provided by the employer, whether expenses provided or not, This is going to be taxed only in case of a specified employee. And if employers say we will not provide you car, so that means car is owned by employee, but only car expenses we will pay. This is also called car perquisite, and this is taxable for all employees, whether specified or non-specified. So what we are going to discuss is the car facility in which allowances does not fall, in which cab facility does not fall. There must be a car provided by employer to employee, whether with expenses, without expenses. That is going to be taxed only for a specified employee. Or the car is owned by employee, but the expenses has been met by the employer. That was also a case which falls in our motor car facility. So you understand what we are going to discuss in this. So why I have explained you, because you should not act confused. We have discussed it as an allowance also. Allowance is different thing. You could think, okay, this could be the part of cap facility we are talking. No, we are not talking about the cap facility, because that is not for a specific employee, that is for a group of employee. So this is for a special employee. Whether you are specified, then the first case would be taxable. And if you are a car is owned by you, in that situation, it is taxable in hands of both employee. We have to prepare a chart for it. Then you would be able to understand exactly what we are talking in detail. So this is our car facility. First case, all employee included. Second case is specified employee. So all employee, which case will fall in which car is owned by employee. So first case is car. And this is all logical. This percolator is having a problem that if you'll try to just read it, just learn it without logic, it would be very difficult to understand. And if you'll go through with the logic one by one step, you would be able to understand automatically. And in the examination also, you would be able to solve it perfectly if you will apply the logic behind it, what we are going to discuss. So car owned by employee. So the perk is would be the expenses. If the car is mine, so the perk would be only the expenses which is being paid by the employer. Car is not the perk because car belongs to me. In this situation, car would be the perk. But when car is belongs to me, I am the owner, employee is the owner. Then what is the perquisite? The perquisite is the actually expenditure only. So expenses part we just need to tax it as a perquisite. So if car owned by employee and expenses met by, paid by, there would be two situations. So I am explaining you all the situations so there would not be any confusion. So car owned by employee, expenses met by, either the expenses also met by employee. Now think about it and tell me, is there any perquisite in this case? Car is owned by me, expenses paid by me, no payment made by employer, no reimbursement. Is it a perquisite or not? If car is owned by me and I am the one who make the expenditure, employer is not going to pay anything to me, is does fall in the definition of perquisite, because perquisite definition means your personal expenditure met by employer. So anything has been met by employer in this case? No. So the first case is technically not a perquisite. So this is not applicable. Taxable value nil. Understood? So that could be given in question to make you confused that employee's own car, expenses met by employee. What is the taxable value? Nil. Nothing is taxable because there is no perquisite involved. When perquisite will be involved? When expenses paid by employer. met by employer. So if car is owned by me and expenses met by employer, then there would be three situations. First is car used 100% for official purpose. So car is mine, but expenditure has been paid by employer. But the car has been used 100% for official purpose. That means employee does not use the car for any personal purpose. Again, does this fall in the definition of perquisite? No. There must be some personal expenditure which is met by employer. Then perquisite will be fall in the definition of perk you will fall. Then we have to find it out what is the taxable value. Until the payment has not been met by employer and until there is no personal expenditure involved, then nothing could be taxed as perquisite in any cases. So this is clear. So if car has been used, and that would be given in question, whether it has been used for 100% official or not, etc. Second case, used. Car used 100% private purpose. That means the employee does not use that car for official purpose, not even for one day. The petrol expenditure has been paid by employer and employee is running that car over everywhere except comes to the office. His family is utilizing it, he's utilizing it, but he's not coming to office via that car. He's coming by any other mode, but not utilizing that car. So 100% for private purpose if utilized. So automatically, what should be the taxable value? Expenses paid by employer. Actual expenses paid by employer. That would be the taxable value. Look, last case left in case of car owned by employee. So do you find anything complicated till now? It is all logic behind. If you will think like a logical person, the car owned by employee, expenses met by employee. Of course, कुछ perk है ही नहीं, no benefit, leave it. Car employee, expenses employer, used official, no perk is it. Car employee, expenses employer, used everything for private purpose. Full value taxable. Whatever amount paid by employer is going to be taxed. All logical. Third case is little complicated. The third case is, look, practically, generally this does not happen because it's not possible 100% used for official. Practically, this is not happening. For some days, definitely he's going to take the car to the office. So practically the maximum cases is third one, and that is for both purpose, official and private. And there is no percentage defined. Even it's 20-80 or it's 80-20 or it's 30-70 or 70-30, this case would be applicable. There is no requirement of 50-50. Both case would be applicable. If that is a both case scenario, now a different kind of calculation you have to done. Now, what is the calculation? The calculation says, look, the car has been utilized for both purpose. So the provision says actual expenses paid by employer. You have to take that. That would be given in the question. Now, out of these actual expenditures, suppose this is A. Now, suppose out of these actual expenditure, we have to reduce higher of these two following. We have to calculate these 2 points and higher of these 2 points need to reduce from this actual expenditure. So why we are taking actual expenditure? Because these expenditure has been utilized for both purpose. And now we have to reduce out of this total expenditure, we have to reduce. Okay, tell me one thing. What we should reduce to get the taxable value? The taxable value would be after reduction of this value. So if total expenditure is here, which is used for both official as well as private, so which I should reduced out of this? If I will reduce the official expenditure, then we will get the taxable value. Taxable value is mean private expenditure paid by employer. So out of total, if I will reduce officially utilized expenditure, then we will get what? We will get the taxable value. So less first point, actual official expenses if given in question. Suppose actual expenditure paid by employer is 40,000 rupees. Suppose this is my A. Now the first point saying, if you are having the out of this 40,000, how much is utilized for official expenditure? If this information has been given, suppose it has said that for official purpose utilized 18,000 rupees. So this is 18,000 we are talking about, actual official expenditure. If given in question, you will take that value. But we have to compare that value to point number 2. This is a government fixed value. This is government fixed value. We have to compare this actual value with government fixed value. And that is, change the color. This is, if car up to 1600 cc cubic capacity. This is a car cubic capacity. So if the car is having cubic capacity of 1600 cc, or we can say 1.6 liter. 1.6 liter is equivalent to 1600 cc, equal thing. If the car has been up to 1600 cc, this cc would be given in the question. Do not worry about it. Then 1800 rupees per month we have to consider. Understood? If it is more than 1600 cc, like big cars, Fortuner, etc. has been provided, then in place of 1800, we will take 2400 rupees per month. So either A would be there or B would be there. Either we will take 1800 rupees per month or we will take 2400 rupees per month. This is fixed limit, fixed by government. So out of these two, either we will take A or B. One would be applicable, either A or B. Plus, we have to add one expenditure either in A or B. So either it would be 1800 plus this second point or 2400 plus this. So the C is 900 rupees per month if driver provided also. So if the employer provide driver also, if driver also, then we have to add 900 rupees in A or B. So either if no driver, then we will take either 1800 rupees per month or we will take 2400 rupees per month. If driver is there, then either it would be 1800 plus 900, 2700, or 2400 plus 900, 3300. So driver would be remain same whether its case A applicable or B applicable. Do not worry about it. In the question, CC, and if driver is there, that information would be provided. So nothing to worry in that respect. So you will see, we will get one value out of these. So point number 1 value is this. This is official expenditure which has been given in question. If given, we will take that amount. If first point has not been given in question, then we will take it 0. Second point, have to remember these limit. If it is 1600 cc, we will take 1800 rupees per month. If it is more than 1600 cc, we will take 2400 rupees per month. If driver also provided, we will take 900 rupees per month. So now out of these two expenditure, one is actual official expenditure, other is as per government fixed value. We have to take the higher of these two. The higher of these two needs to reduce from this total expenditure. That would be the taxable value. Let me show you. The example we have taken, this one. So A is 40,000. Official expenditure is 18,000. This one is 18,000. Now suppose the question says that the car cubic capacity is more than 1600 cc and driver also provided. So that means we will take 2400 rupees plus 900 into 12 for the full year. So the fixed amount would be, as per government norms, 3900, 39,600. And now whichever is higher is 39,600. This needs to be utilized for the purpose of reduction. So the balance 400 would be my only taxable value. This is most interesting, or we can say most complicated point from this car perquisite. First one is so simple. Expenses made by employee, car employee, no taxability. Expenses made by employer, car for official, no taxable. Expenses made by employer, 100% full expenditure. For both purpose, then expenditure paid. And let me tell you, everything would be given in question. These expenditure would be given in question. If it is for official expenditure value, that would be given in question 18,000 or whatever amount. This you have to learn. It would be given the car capacity and driver is there or not. So if car capacity is up to 1600 cc, up to, then we need to take 1800 rupees per month. More than that, 2400 rupees per month. If driver is there, then 900. Suppose in this example, no driver. Then I have to compare 2400 into 12. Higher value need to be reduced. So the balance is going to be taxable value. In maximum case or 90% case, actual official expenditure generally not provided in the question. So whatever fixed value would be there, that would automatically be the higher value. Understood? Suppose the car has been provided for 7 months only. Then all this calculation needs to be done for 7 months. So that is 100 per month information has been given. So you have to find out the specific value as per month information. So I guess you must have enjoyed this diagram. Very interesting, very logical also. Naga Raja is saying, sir, in my thoughts, in India, business person richer than salary person as per salary chapter. Salary is going to be paid by some businessman. So if somebody is paying you any expenditure, that means his income must be more than that. That's why he is doing that business. Aditya asking, sir, there any depreciation for car? No. In this case, no depreciation till now. There would be depreciation provision when you transfer, when employer sell this car to the employee, not in car perquisite. Mustafa is saying 3 cases: owned by employer, rented by employer, owned by employee, and expenses paid by employer. This perquisite I'm telling you, if you will try to just learn it, not try to understand it, it would be very difficult to apply which case is applicable in the examination. That's why I'm explaining you each and everything with example. Until you will not leave this logical, you would be in trouble. So please be logical, apply the case accordingly, and this perquisite will be solved very, very easily. When you will solve the questions for practice, you will see if I am applying logically. If you'll able to apply the case, which case does this fall? Definitely you are going to solve this perquisite very easily. Okay, next, any query? Okay, got it. Shamli and Lakshmi, office use, Saipa, official. Shalini, got it. Okay. Mustafa, sir, yes, sir, logic always work, then mechanical learning. Yes, you are right, Mr. Mustafa. So this is the first case when car owned by employee we have saw. So there would be these cases only in case of car owned by employee. अच्छा logically सोचो बताओ. If the case falls under car owned by employee, think about it. What do you think? Which case examiner will give you in examination? This case, this case, or this one, last one? What do you think? In the examination, if I am an examiner and leave it, if you are an examiner, what kind of question you want to ask out of these four cases? We have discussed four cases over there. This is one, two, three, and four. And if there is a salary question, rent-free house and car purchase it would be there 100%. 99% they both would be there in a all salary question examination. So tell me, if you are an examiner, which case you want to create in case of first discussion what we have done in case of this category. We are not discussing this yet, but if you are an examiner, which case you will frame for the purpose of examination? Last one, of course. So understood, paper has been out. So in the examination also, what will happen? This case is utmost important. There would be calculation. Na? There should be calculation. We need to check the strength of the student. Are they able to understand these kind of complicated situations? So if they are able to understand this complicated situation, this complicated subjects, these complicated things, what you are studying, they are able to handle the complexities of a company. So that's why the companies are going to pay you, because if a student has understood the car perquisite, if he's that kind of brain and he has cleared the CA, that means company knows how complicated provision you have decoded. So you would be able to decode the company's problem also. So that's why they are paying you. Understood? So when you say na, okay, why is so difficult? Why CA topic is so difficult? Why this course is so difficult? Because it is important for you. It is difficult. That's why you're going to get a lot of money in future, respect, reputation, everything. Okay. Fourth case, yes. You understood? Everyone. Good one. So that was car perquisite first part. So we are going to continue the second part of car perquisite after the break. Let me see if there's any query. Then I will solve it. Mustafa. Okay. So Nisarg, can we have a short break? Nisarg, can we have a short break? Yes, 10 minutes. मिस्टर जी को कॉल करते हैं. Nisarg, are you there? Nisarg, can we have a break? Okay, yes, sir. Okay. Okay, welcome back everyone. I believe you must have your tea, coffee, etc. So we were discussing the provision of car perquisite, and we have completed the first case in which we have the car is owned by the employee. Okay, let me see if there's any query. So what if the employer bought it for lease? If employer has bought it on lease or on rent, that would be the second scenario. What we are going to discuss it, whether it's owned by employer or it is on rent by employer, etc. Meenu is saying see you after 10 minutes. Okay. Chalo. So moving ahead, the second part. Okay. So I need space. So second case, I am going to drag it over here. Specified employee. When car is owned on rent employer. Now, technically, car has been provided by employer to employee. Whether it's owned by employer or on rent does not matter. That case would fall in category 2. And this is taxable only for specified employee. So if you are a non-specified employee and car has been provided by the employer, then this perquisite would not be taxable in your hand. Okay. Now in this case again, now we have seen that the car is owned by employer. So now the expenses provision we have to see who has met the expenditure, and there would be always two cases. Expenses met by either, of course, employee or employer. So now think about it. If car has been provided by employer in both cases and expenses met by, in first case, by employee. So what is the perquisite in this case? What is the perk we need to tax? What is the benefit employee is having? If the expenses met by employee in this case, so what is the benefit employee have in the second category? So you should understand what is the benefit. Accordingly, you can tax it. Quality Anil wants to speak something. Yes, go ahead. Can we unmute Quality Anil? Raise your hand again, so I will ask. It was by mistake, sir. Okay, not a problem. So it is car, of course. If expenses met by employee and car is provided by employer, then in this situation, the perquisite what I have, that is car. So car needs to be taxed over here. So you have understood in this case what is going to be taxed is car perquisite value. Expenses, so it's paid by me. So technically, car benefit needs to be taxed. And in this case, again, there would be three situations. 100% official. If it is 100% official, it's always nil, no taxable value. 100% private or personal purpose. So now understand it this way that if car has been provided by employer, expenses met by employee. So in this category, we have to tax the car, and car is an asset. It's a movable asset. So the taxability would be like this. If it is owned by employer, it's like furniture. The furniture case of rent-free house, exactly same. 10% per annum of cost is taxable value. If it is car owned by employer. If it is on rent, if employer takes that car on rent, then taxable value would be rent paid by employer. Rent, lease charges, whatever it is. So only one case would be applicable. Either it would have been owned by employer or it would be on rent. So you can see it's a mobile asset concept which has been applicable, same as rent-free house. No new concept. In that case, furniture taxability is 10% per annum if it is owned, or rent paid if it is on rent. In the same way, car is automatically an movable asset. Same concept has been taxable over here. So no new concept we are discussing. If you want to learn, you can understand in this case, furniture concept would be applicable. And third one is both. In my opinion, the both category question probability would be there, whether it's first case scenario or this one or last one. Both are more important rather than these, because these are very simple to solve. When there is official nil, when this private, you just need to do one thing, you have to text everything, whatever is free. So because free thing is car. So because car is free, so the car is an asset. So we have to tax the value of asset the way we taxed in rent-free house. In case of both, the fixed value needs to be taxed. The taxable value is if the car is up to 1600 cc. What we reduced it here, we have to tax this value, but the amount has been changed. 600 rupees per month needs to tax. If more than 1600 cc, then 900 rupees per month needs to tax. Plus, if driver there, then 900 rupees per month for driver needs to be taxed. So this is my taxable value. We do not need to reduce it or add it to anything. Whatever would be this value, that would be my taxable value, and this is called fixed taxable value. What is the meaning of fixed taxable value? Let me explain you. In rent-free house perquisite, there was a general note at the end, what we have discussed today also, that if anything has been recovered against any perquisite, that's need to be reduced from taxable value. That is applicable for all perquisite. But if I have write it down fixed, that means in this case, even if anything has been recovered from employee, that cannot be reduced. In this case, it can be reduced, not an issue. In the first case also, it can be reduced from the taxable value. But if the taxable value is fixed value as per government norms, so this is fixed taxable value, we cannot reduce anything in this case. So fixed mean cannot reduce amount recovered from employee. So there are very rare cases in which this fixed case happens. So whenever I write it down somewhere fixed, that means you cannot reduce anything which has been recovered from in this respect of the perquisite. Understood? Now the last one. So you have seen in this case, car was my perquisite. So we have taxed the car value. And for the purpose of car, this is fixed limit, we have to tax. Now in the last case, if you will see, can you tell me what is the perk actually in this case? In the last case, what is the perk we need to tax? There are again three cases. 100% official, 100% private, and both. Can you understand that in the last case, what exactly is the perquisite? And I believe you must have been understood what exactly the perquisite. Shraddha is saying, which driver is okay with 900 rupees salary these days? You should be okay because taxable value would be low. If it is increased, your taxable value is going to be increased. So the limit has not been raised yet. Okay. Rent may by employer, it's 100% official, no accommodation by employer to employee. If actual driver salary is impact on taxable limit of 900 rupees per month, no, it would not affect. Whatever is your actual value does not matter. These are the fixed value. So in the last case, you will see as an employee, I am going to receive a car and also expenses. Before this case, before this last case, you will see there is only one thing benefit with the employee. In the first case, car was his car and expenditure by him, then no perk. In the second case, it was car owned by employee, expenses met by employer. So only expenses needs to be taxed as a perquisite. In this category, the first case, expenses met by employee, so car was the perquisite. But in the last case, car also provided by employer and expenses also met by employer. So this is the main perquisite in which you have received car as well as the expenditure. So this is going to be the we can say highest taxable perquisite because everything is free in this case. Of course, if it is official purpose 100%, nothing is going to be taxed. For 100% private purpose, now I have to tax two things. One, I have to tax the car perquisite part and expenses. For the purpose of car, you have seen if car is for 100% private, what is need to be taxed? Like this. If it is owned, then 10% per annum. Same case. If it is on rent, then rent paid. Either of this would be applicable. Because 100% expenditure has been used for private purpose and expenditure all paid by employer. So taxable value would be again very simple. Actual expenses paid by employer. So this plus this would be my taxable value. The car taxable value accordingly plus the expenses taxable value, how much the expenses have been paid, that total would be my taxable value in this case. This is the highest taxable value case because you have been received car free, you have been received the expenses and you have used 100% of it for only personal purpose. So the car value just like that same and the expenses total amount of expenditure paid by employer you need to add it back, that would be our taxable value. Suppose the car value has been given 10 lakh rupees and actual expenditure paid is for the year is 50,000 rupees and you have used this only for 100% private purpose. So now 10% of this, that is 1 lakh and 50,000 of this 1,50,000 would be your car purchase taxable. Suppose in this question, the question says that employer recovered 3,000 rupees per month for this facility from employee. That means we have to reduce it, 36,000, we will reduce it because this is not fixed case. Fixed case was this one. Understood? So when you will go through with the provision, you may find it complicated. When you see the example, you will see, okay, this is that simple. The most important thing, you must remember the provision. Okay, now the case, and then in my belief, more than 80% question is from this scenario always in the question examples. If you solve 10 question of car perquisite, 8 belongs to this last category. Car provided by employer, expenses provided by employer and used for official and personal both purpose. The good news, the taxable value we have already seen. Let me show you. You see this value, what we used in this case for reduction purpose, the same value, what we use for reduction purpose in this case, this exact value is going to be taxed over here. Exactly. Not going to reduce, this is going to taxed over here. So whatever value I am writing over here, you can recheck it. The taxable value in this case is, if it is up to 1600 cc, 1800 rupees per month taxable. If it is more than 1600 cc, 2400 rupees per month is taxable. Plus, if driver, 900 rupees per month. This is taxable value as the case may be. If no driver, whether 1800 would be taxable per month or 2400. If driver, then 1800 plus 900 or 24 plus 900 is going to be your taxable value. And this one is also fixed. So there are two fixed case. First one is this one and for second one is this one. In this case also, if anything has been recovered, that cannot be reduced from the perquisite value. This is the car perquisite. Now you can see the diagram. If you see this diagram at one go, you will find something like that. So it's my suggestion to all of you that please redraw this diagram. Fine, you can take the screenshot or you can uh, make this diagram on the basis of the class. You can go through it and you can make one by one as I have discussed with you. And please try to make this diagram once, please, by yourself on any chart paper or a blank page, and try to make this diagram on a single page, a single big page. So if you are able to make this diagram on a single page, you would be able to see whole picture of the car perquisite. And it would be very easy to learn, I promise you. Very easy. Okay, we will solve the question related to car perquisite also. So it would be very easy. Okay, so we have done the car perquisite. Moving on to the other provision now. Car and expense both taxable for personal. So can we summarize once? Look, it's a huge perquisite case and we can summarize. Any amount paid more than fixed is exempt or less than fixed limit is chargeable. In case of two fixed case, whatever amount you paid, that is irrelevant. The fixed amount is going to be taxed. Chalo. If you want to see the summarized part, the summarized part says like this: car facility, either car owned by employee. If it is owned by employee, we have to find out the expenses. Expenses met by, if the expenses met by employee, nothing is going to be taxed. If expenses met by employer and if car is used for official purpose, no taxability. If car is used for private purpose, then 100% expenses is going to be your taxable value. Whatever amount paid by employer is your taxable value. If it has been used for both purpose, then total expenses paid by employer. Out of this value, higher of these two value we have to reduce. Actual official expenses if given in question and a fixed value up to 1600cc, 1800 rupees per month, more than 1600cc, 2400 rupees per month, and if driver allotted, 900 rupees per month. So this value or the actual official, whichever is higher, need to be reduced out of this my total value. Balance would be my taxable value. This would be a case and only taxable in both category of employee. When car is owned by employee, if car is not owned by employee and provided by employer, in that case, this perk is taxable only in the hands of a specified employee. And if expenses met by employee, official nil taxability. If 100% private, then for the purpose of car, we have to take the 10% if it is owned or rent. For both case, this fixed limit needs to be taxed. Nothing can be reduced from it. If car and expenses both paid by employer, official, nothing taxable. If private, then full taxable. For the car, owned or rent as the case may be, taxable value and actual expenditure paid by employer. That is also. So aggregate would be your taxable value. If both, then in that circumstances, the same case what we have used for the purpose of deduction, the same value is going to be taxed in this case. Exactly same. And that is also a fixed case. Got it? Chalo. So this is car perquisite. Now you can go through with the theoretical provision and everything has been written in a format way. You can check your format with the diagram also. It would be same. In case of other than car, any other automotive mobile, this is for reading purpose. Kindly read it yourself. If there would be any issue, we will solve it. Like two-wheeler kind convince benefit, then you can use this format. There are some notes. Month means completed month. So suppose if car has been provided for 8 months and 10 days, then we will solve only 8-month provision. Even if it is 8 months and 20 days, we will solve only 8-month provision. So we have to take the completed month case. The second note is for your reading purpose. Kindly read it. So that was car perquisite. Now the other perquisites are very, very logical and very simple. Huge perquisites we have solved. Valuation of benefit of provision of domestic servant. Now there is a common provision in case of multiple obligations. There are common provision. If any kind of expenditure which has been incurred by employee and reimbursed by employer. Let me show you with the help of a very simple example. Like there was a word, the perquisite means obligation of employee. Obligation of employee met by employer. In this case, there would be two situations generally. If bill or the person appointed by employee and expenses paid by employer. Suppose I am an employee and I need a domestic servant for my house. An employer say, okay, you find a person, appoint it, and we will pay the expenditure, we will reimburse that. Suppose I have a electricity connection in my house. Employer say, you get the electricity connection in your house and we will pay the bill. So if the bill is in the name of employee or the person to whom employer is paying is appointed by employee, so legal obligation is mine. So in any perquisite, if bill is in the name of employee or the person appointed by employee, but the expenditure paid by employer as a reimbursement, etc. So this case is going to be taxed for all employees. These kind of perquisite is going to be taxed for all employees, whether specified or non-specified. Now, if suppose if bill or person appointed by employer for you, like I need a cook, I need a domestic servant, an employer says you don't bother about it, we will provide you a cook. You don't need to find it. We will provide a cook and we will pay to it. I need a electricity connection. Employer say you don't worry, we will take electricity connection our name of company and we will pay the bill. So if bill or person appointed by employer and of course expenses paid by employer. If expenses paid by employee, that is not a perquisite. So this kind of benefit where bill in the name of employer, where the person appointed by employer for any employee and paid by employer, this is not a normal case. So this is going to be taxed only for specified employee. As in case of car, if car is yours, taxable for all. If car is provided by the company, so that means you are a very special employee. So in the same case, if the bill or person appointed by employer and expense paid by employer, these are going to be taxed for specified employee. Why I have shown you this diagram? Because when you will read these simple perquisite, then you will see this point again and again. So once and all, I have cleared this thing. Like if servants are engaged by employee and employer paid or reimbursed the employee for the wages of such servant, it would be perquisite in the hands of all employees, which is the case this one. When servants are engaged by employee, so person appointed by employee, paid by employer, that is tax for all. But if domestic servants are engaged by employer, now employer provided you the servant and paid by employer, of course, it would be taxed only in the hands of specified employee. Anything recovered from employee going to be reduced. This is for your reading purpose. Same case, valuation of gas, water or electricity supplied by employer. If the gas, water, electricity taken by employee, that means the bill comes in the name of employee and paid by employer. This would be taxed for all employees. But if suppose the bill comes in the names of employer and paid by employer, only tax in the hands of specified employee. So removing this confusion, I have made that diagram. So whenever you will read these lines, you will understand what kind of provision they are talking about. The taxability value, if payment is made to agency supplying gas, electricity, the amount paid by employer would be taxable value. If employer himself providing these gas, water, electricity, then manufacturing cost would be the taxable value. Suppose you are working in an electricity company. You are an employee of electricity company. Fine. And employer says we will provide you free electricity. The manufacturing cost of electricity, suppose 5 rupees per unit. And they sold this electricity unit, the market value we can say, suppose 9 rupees per unit. You are a employee of electricity company and company says we will provide you 1000 free units. So if you are an employee of electricity company and they are providing the electricity free to you. So because you are in company, they are not purchasing it from outsource, they are providing from their own source. Then taxable value would be 1000 into 5. And suppose you are working in a normal company, a normal shoes manufacturing company, and company says we will pay your electricity bill. Do not worry. In that case, how much company needs to pay? They needs to pay the according to market value. So in that case, the taxable value would be 9,000 rupees. So very simple. If employer is providing from own resources, he is the manufacturing of electricity, gas, etc. Then taxable value would be the cost to it, cost to the employer, and that would be manufacturing cost. That would be given in question. If employer is not providing by himself, he is taking those things from outside. Then of course the market value would be the amount of value which would be paid by the employer and would be taxable in your hand. Same case. Valuation of free or concessional education facility. If the school fees of children of employee or any member of household is paid or reimbursed by the employer on employee's behalf, it would be the perquisite in the hands of all employee. But if the school is owned by employer in which the children are studying, that is only taxable in the hands of a specified employee. You can go through with the taxable value, simple provision. There is an exemption of 1000 rupees per month per child. Children does not have any limit in this case, so kindly go through it. Important perquisite, free or concessional tickets. Kindly read it yourself. Valuation of other fringe and benefit amenities. The first one is important, interest-free or concessional loan. This says, if employer provides you interest-free or concessional interest loan, then the amount of concession would be your perquisite. Suppose employer provide you 10 lakh rupees loan. Clear? The market interest rate was 10%. So for the purpose of comparison of market interest rate, income tax prescribed, we have to compare it with the SBI, State Bank of India interest rate. So SBI interest rate is 10%. Employer provide you this loan only at 6% of interest. Employer say you need to pay only 6% interest. So what is the benefit? Benefit is for 4%. So this 4% interest would be your taxable value. Suppose employer say you need not to pay any interest, 0% interest. Then 10% full, the amount on this loan would be your taxable value. Suppose employer say we will take 10% interest equivalent to SBI, then there would not be any taxable perquisite. Suppose employer charging 11%, nil. There cannot be any negativity in any taxable value of perquisite. So whatever amount of interest you need not to pay comparative to SBI interest rate, SBI interest rate would be given in question. That would be the taxable value of the perquisite, but there is a very interesting solution method for this. The value of the benefit to the assessee resulting from the provision of interest-free or concessional loan for any purpose made available to the employee or member of his household during the relevant previous year by the employer or any person on his behalf shall be determined as the sum equal to interest computed charged by the SBI. The main line is this: on the first day of the relevant previous year in respect of loans for the same purpose, advanced by it on the maximum outstanding monthly balance as reduced by the interest, if any, actually paid by him or any of such member of his household. This information is very important to calculate, that how to calculate the interest. It would be depend upon the first day of the relevant previous year. On that balance, we have to calculate the interest. So there is a very good example regarding this in your study material also. And in the next session, the starting, somebody will remind me, we will solve that example first in the class, because it's like having multiple calculations. So I'm not going to solve that example today. Today, I will just would need to tell you that you have to read the provision. The example related to this, that is going to be solved by me. I will solve it for you. So that would be easily to understand. Manisha is asking on query portal. Sir, in the case car owned by employee and expenses paid by employer, the amounts 1800, 2400 are used for reduction exactly in taxable value. But if the car given by employer and expenses also met by employer act as taxable value, why there is different treatment? So this is again, I have told you, and to multiple students, we cannot ask why. The law needs to be followed. We cannot ask at this level why, because in the examination also they will not ask you why. Why we have comparison rate with SBI? Why it is not average rate of all banks? So there is a reason or logic behind every provision, but we are not in the state to understand the logic behind the provision because of two reasons. First one, we are short of time. Second one, that is not relevant for our intermediate purpose. When you will be a chart accountant, either you would be able to understand the logic behind each and everything, or you would have time to understand. So for both reasons, we cannot explain why, but definitely there is a reason why it is so. But it will take our time. And again, if I am going to explain that thing and it will take 10 minutes, so it will not going to that I am going to spend my 10 minutes. I am going to use all of the students who is watching us, the 10 minutes of each of them. And maybe that is not relevant for your examination purpose. So I can skip that question, Monisha. Sorry. Chalo, fine. So in case of interest-free loan, however, there is an exemption also. No value would be charged. That means taxable value would be exempted in case of interest-free loan if the loan is for medical treatment. So as I've told you, income tax is a very emotional act. When there is anything regarding health or life, they provide you benefit. So if you have taken loan from your employer, whether interest-free or concessional, and if it is for medical treatment, in that case, whether it's like cancer, tuberculosis, and it is prescribed diseases, in that situation, there would not be any taxable value. And for any other purpose, if the loan amount not exceeding 20,000, for medical purpose, if it is 20,000, 2 lakh, 12 lakh, 20 lakh, no taxability. Other than medical purpose, if the loan is up to 20,000, the income tax say 20,000 is a very small value. So if the loan value is up to 20,000, whether for any purpose, there is nothing is going to be taxed. So there are two exemptions. First one, if loan is for medical purpose, no limit. Kitna bhi, no taxability. Other than medical, up to 20,000 rupees. If loan for any purpose, no taxability. Understood? So that was a loan provision. Please do remind me to solve the example related to this calculation, because if I'll ask you to solve, it will take a lot of time of you to understand the solution process. I will tell you a trick that will help you to solve the question instantly in the next session. Now, valuation of traveling, touring, and accommodation. Remember that temporary rent-free house we were talking? That up to 15 days there is no taxability. After that, it would have been taxable. And that time I told you that is applicable for only temporary. And it should be the transfer of job. If it is not a transfer of job, it's a normal case when you are going to attend any tour, conference, etc. that would not applicable. Some other provision would be applicable. Here is this some other provision. Valuation of traveling, touring, and accommodation. Understood? And it's very logical, very, very easy. The provision say if you going for a travel. So what is the difference between a travel and tour? Anybody will explain? Whether in a chat box or if somebody wants to explain, then I can ask them to unmute you. What is the difference? What is the nature of difference between travel and tour? Mr. Golti Anil wants to ask, in case of partly for official and partly for private, the employee might have incurred some expenditure, right? So what is the treatment? So if that expenditure has been recovered by the employer, that could be reduced. Otherwise, it cannot be reduced because we have fixed limit. So whatever amount, I believe you must have been asking regarding the case in which car is owned by employee and expenses met by employer, third case. If it is in that case, you have to take only those expenditure which has been paid by employer. Whatever expenditure you have paid, that is not going to be included in the first point. So automatically, that is not going to be taxed in your case. No treatment of that expenditure. 4, 10. So what does mean? Concessional means, Neeraj, less rate of interest. Suppose it's 10% interest of SBI. If I'm not charging anything, that is a 0% interest-free loan. If I'm charging 6%, 8%, that is less than the SBI limit, that is concessional. Yes, Aditya, only for specified disease for medical treatment. That would be given in question. Mustafa is saying very emotional for taxpayer, but for us, it is not, sir. Okay, Navneet is saying, is there any extra benefit for government employee? Maybe you have attending the class first day, Navneet, because in the first session of salary, second and third, we have discussed multiple benefits to government employee, like in case of pension received exempted, gratuity exempted, leave encashment exempted. So you should go through with the initial class. So that would, in that case, you would be able to understand the different benefit for the government employee. Meenu Kumari, yes, sir, yes. Neeraj is saying tour is for joy and travel is for work. Okay. Then Khushi is saying traveling can be from one place to another, whereas tour is specifically for recreational purpose. Okay. Mustafa is saying travel for business purpose for time period and tour is generally with family short amount of time. Quality I have explained, there is no treatment of expenditure made by employee in that third case. No treatment. Because in the first point also you will take only the expenditure paid by employer. Travel is between two location, but tour is for exploring the location including stay. दिया जैन कहाँ से पढ़ रहे हो तुम गूगल पे सर्च कर लिया क्या अभी Okay, Kuldeep, I suppose travel official and tour is usually personal. Linga is saying tour can be for official tour, but travel may be for private purpose. Travel means official, tour means family. Okay, for concessional loan, travel is for business research. Is there any extra benefit, Navneet? I have explained that you have to go through the starting classes. You will get to know what are the benefit. Like in the rent-free house, if you are a government employee, only license fee is going to be taxed. So there are multiple exemption for government employee. No, not for loan concession. There is no as such benefit for government employee. Provisions are same for everyone. Travel is from movement, Shalini is saying, from one place, travel via train. Tour is for a specific purpose. Okay. Dhanlakshmi is saying travel is going to one place, tour is visiting multiple place. अच्छा कभी सुना है हैव यू एवर हर्ड बिजनेस टूर सुना है और बिजनेस ट्रेवल व्हाट इज मोर फेमिलियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू बिजनेस टूर बिजनेस ट्रेवल you must have heard any one of them so what is majority you have listened in your life business tour or business travel business tour so that means tour is generally for official purpose travel is traveling. Traveling means in Hindi yatra. It's not generally for official purpose. It is for traveling purpose or personal purpose. So travel is technically personal purpose and tour is for official purpose. So if employee is going on travel, so that is technically the personal purpose expenditure paid by employer. Now let me tell you, do not connect this provision with the LTC. Under LTC, you are only getting the traveling concession benefit from one place to another. Under a travel accommodation perquisite, you will get the traveling expenditure, accommodation also, food also, etc. The package benefit you will take. In case of LTC, only traveling benefit, that is only for block period, etc. applicability. It is specifically must be mentioned in the question, that is leave travel concession. But these are traveling perquisite. In this traveling, employer is providing you traveling expenditure as well as accommodation also, etc. So travel is for personal purpose and tour is generally for official purpose. So for travel, how we will taxable it? Where such facility is not given to all employees. Suppose there are 10 employees in the company and company is providing only traveling benefit to Mr. A. That you go and travel with your family, all the expenditure of traveling accommodation we will pay. Then taxable value would be value at which such facilities are offered by other agency to the public. So that means how much the cost of that travel, the fair market value of that package. Suppose your employer says that you can go with your family outside India to Dubai. We will pay that amount of your 10 days visit. And suppose that package value is suppose 3 lakh rupees from Make My Trip. Then 3 lakh would be the taxable value in the hands of employee. If that benefit is given to all employee, if employers say you can go, all the employees have the benefit, same benefit of traveling. In that case, whatever amount has been paid by employer in the package, that is going to be taxable value in the hands of employee. That would be given in question. Whether individual employee get the benefit, then you will need to tax the taxable value as FMV. If that is provided to all the employee, in that case, you have to take the actual expenditure. Suppose the FMV has been given 10 lakh rupees and actual expenditure paid 9.5 lakh. So if this is first case, then taxable value we will take in the exam 10 lakh. If this is the second case, then we will tax the 9.5 lakh rupees. So both value would be given. You have to see which case is applicable. If all not all employee, then 10 lakh taxable. If all employee, then actual expenditure needs to taxed. Tours are generally for official purpose and automatically if it is for official purpose, nothing is going to be taxed because if any expenditure is for official purpose, then that is 100% non-taxable. Then why there is taxable value? Because suppose business tour was 5 days. But employee asked the employer that after 5 days of working, I want to take one extra day for traveling during that tour. So during that tour, you include the travel. One day I want need as a vacation. I want to see that place where I have been attending that business meeting. And suppose employer agreed, okay, for one day you can use that tour as a travel. So for that one day expenditure, whatever has been paid by employer, that is going to be your taxable value. So very common thing. Or if suppose for a business trip, 5 days business trip, you were going, employer say we will pay the amount of expenditure for your official tour. But you say no, I want to take with myself one of my cousin also, or my sister, or my brother, or my parents. They also come with me. I will attend the business meeting. They will stay with me and they will roam that place. Employer say okay, we will pay that amount. So for that person, your family member for which payment has been made by employer is a personal expenditure. So that could be taxable. Both cases has been given over here. You can read it. If employee is on official tour and expenses incurred for any member of his household, so that expenditure is going to be taxed. Or if only you are on official tour, but you extend it as a vacation for one day or 2 day, except business purpose, you start traveling. So for those days, the expenses paid by employer is going to be taxed. Next is fees for concessional food and non-alcoholic beverages. Tea snacks provided during office hours is nil. free meals, non-alcoholic beverages during working hours provided in a remote area, offshore installation is non-taxable. But if there is any canteen in your office and you have been provided free meals, non-alcoholic beverages provided by employer during office hours at office premises through paid vouchers which are non-transferable, like token system is there, and you are allowed to have anything from the canteen, free meals, then up to 50 rupees per meal is exempted and balance is going to be taxed. So the voucher exemption is 15 rupees per meal. This exemption is only of shifting opt out of default tax regime under optional tax regime. Suppose the question says an employee avail the free meal voucher of 120 rupees per day from the employer. 120 rupees per day free meal voucher he has been availed. And in that year, 300 days or 300 meals he used. What is the taxable value? So out of this 120, 50 rupees per meal is exempted. Then 70 rupees into 300, 21,000 would be the taxable value of this perquisite. In any other case, if any employer provide employee the benefit of having lunch, etc., on bill reimbursement basis, that you can go to any place, you can go to any restaurant, etc., and company will pay that. In that case, this 50 rupees benefit will not be available. Full taxable value. 50 rupees benefit would be available only if that is a token system base and available in the canteen, etc., not bill based reimbursement. So this is again important for examination. Everything is important for examination, of course. Value of gift, voucher, etc. Kindly read it yourself. Credit card expenditure, read it yourself. Any gift is below 5,000 is exempted. And if it is exceeding 5,000, that is going to be taxed. Club expenditure, etc. The club fees, membership fees, if paid by employer, that is taxability case, normal provision, nothing difficult. So you can go through it. Valuation of movable asset and transfer of movable asset and other. So, okay, so nothing much left. You can see we have two main perquisite left, 13 and 14. Then others are very common provision, and in that after that perquisite would be end, and deductions we have to complete. So technically, in my view, in the next session, we would be able to complete all these provisions of perquisite, including the deductions, including the relief provision. So that would be the end game provision would be left. So I will try to complete that end game provision also in the next session. So at the last session, we would only need to discuss the questions from previous examination, test your knowledge, etc. So let me see if there's any query, and then we will move on to our story part today. Navneet is saying like pension, gratuity leave encashment, VRS, car, RFA. I was asking any extra benefit for perquisite of concessional loan. No extra benefit for concessional loan, Navneet. Okay. What is cash credit? That is must be credit card. Cash credit is CC limit. What is cash credit? Yes, Mustafa, story time. But let me see. Queries and studies are preference. After that, only we can move on to the stories part. Mohsin is saying, sorry, sir, as you said, we should understand the car provision logically. And you explained why we are taxing specified employee in certain cases and all employee in certain cases. So I thought of getting the logic for that treatment. Look, if you are a specified employee, that means you are a rich person, you are a director of a company, you are a substantial holder of the company, you are having cash salary 4 lakh rupees or more. So for that, you can see for the purpose of a specified employee, everything is taxable. Everything. If you're a specified employee, you will see everything is taxable. All perquisite. Only if you are a non-specified employee, there are certain perquisites are exempted. Like when car is owned by employer. And if you are a non-specified, so income tax you provide you a benefit if you are not that important employee. If you are a non-specified, then a lot of perquisite would not be taxable in your hand. So if you're specified, you are a rich person. So the motive of income tax, like our income tax is say, income tax is a progressive tax structure. Do you understand this meaning? The Income Tax Act is a progressive tax. Understand this meaning? What is the meaning of progressive tax structure? Any of you have heard about it? It's a progressive tax. Income tax is a progressive tax. Who will tell me the meaning of this thing if you have ever heard it? Or chalo, this would be your homework. If you do not know that, kindly in the next session, in the starting, I will ask what is the meaning of that progressive tax structure. Achha, somebody wants to tell. Shalini wants to tell. Okay, so Khushi, chalo Khushi se पूछते हैं because Shalini already answered. If Khushi won't be able to tell, then I will ask to Shalini. So Khushi, please tell me what is the meaning of that progressive tax structure. Can we?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sir, in progressive tax structure, it tells that as the income increases, the liability of tax also increases.
Absolutely correct. So you can see as a slab rate, when income is 4 lakh or 2.5 lakh, no tax, then it's 5%, then 15, 20. So as long as your income would increase, your tax liability would be increasing. Even surcharge would be there. Surcharge would be 37% if you are having income more than 37%, 5 crore rupees. So this is the structure of income tax that is progressive because more income, more tax. So if you are a specified employee, that means you are an important and rich employee. So we will tax all kind of perquisite in your hand. But if you are a non-specified employee, then we will give you the advantage of those perquisite. Those are bill in the name of employer and paid by employer. Person appointed by employer, paid by employer. Car provided by employer. So for those cases, if you are non-specified, you will get the benefit. So that is the reason behind it, Monisha, who was asking there. But that's not relevant for the purpose of examination. For the purpose of exam, we have to just know how to text and what to exempt. Okay? चलो भाई एक स्टोरी सुनाता हूँ मैं आप लोगों को बड़ी अच्छी सी है और let me see first of all there's more query. Okay, before the story, please note down the homework. So please remind me that interest-free concessional loan question we have to take in the next session, and accept that. Write it down the homework I'm going to give you. In the last session, there was till question number, I guess, 13. I have given you. Now, please, illustration number 14, you have to solve. Illustration 15, 14, 15. Then illustration number 16, 17. No, not 17, sorry. 16 you have to do. I guess 17 also. Okay, fine. Yes, we can do 17. Okay. 17 also rent-free house. You can try that. And 18. These were for rent-free house. Now car perquisite example also. Illustration number 19. This is for car perquisite. Illustration number after 19. You have to solve. Okay, this will be done by. This is transfer car. Okay. One illustration 21 you need to solve. Fine. Escape illustration number 20 that I will solve with you. Illustration number 21 you have to solve yourself. So that's all the homework for today. Let me see the query, then we'll move on to the story part. Okay, Shamli is asking, so in case of perquisite, we directly find out the taxable value. And in case of allowances, we first find exempted value. Yes, exactly. Next is green, progressive information, correct? Question about today class, like MCQs. Today's class question, Nagaraj, we would like to take in the next session, because today we have just discussed it. You need time to sum those provisions, sum up the revision of car, perquisite, etc. If I'll ask anything from today's class, might be most of the student would not be able to understand the question or not able to answer. Because the reason is you have need to take time to learn the provision, understand it. So in the next session, in the starting, we can take the MCQs. नवनीत सिंह, स्पेसिफाइड एम्प्लॉय का डेफिनेशन सेम रहेगा? यस एग्जैक्टली सेम रहेगा. मोर इनकम टैक्स, progressive, okay. Today we done house perquisites and car, then household loan and other interest perquisite. Progressive means, okay, well done. So teach us some tactics we can be dynamic among all other students in India. We are teaching everything like thought for the day, revisions you have to do. So it's about how you explore those knowledge, whatever the faculties are giving to you. So we are teaching each and everything, explaining you the example. Now the thing, in the last session and the next session, we will also try to solve the exam oriented questions or the question which has been asked in the examination. If you wanted to be extraordinary among others, there's only one thing. You have to revise as much as you can. You have to make short notes. You have to make your charts. If you do all these things, you would be extraordinary and dynamic among others. Okay. टैक्सेबिलिटी इंक्रीज, होमवर्क बता दिया बच्चों मैंने तुम्हें. What is the ultimate purpose of CA as tax expert? Help accessing in planning and reduce tax burden, or ensure tax compliances, or balance both? Balance both is the exactly the main purpose. नवनीत इनकम टैक्स में MCQ क्वेश्चन आते हैं? Yes आते हैं. You should go and check the papers, MTP etc. Sir, if car owned by employer, we charge any depreciation? No, not in this case. In case of car perquisite, we do not charge any depreciation. But if that car has been transferred to the employee, then we will charge a depreciation. That would be the part of the next session. Transfer करेंगे तब charge होगा अजय, but that would be the part of next session. Shireen is saying, sir, gratuity for other employees covered under the Payment of Gratuity Act 1972. If the number of year of service is 1 year and 6 months, then it will take 2 years. Of course, it will take as a 2 year. I have given that example in the gratuity case also. If it's 1 year, 6 months, you have to take 2 years, because year of service, in case of when Gratuity Act is applicable, you have to make that fraction of 6 months or more into the year. So that would be 2 years. स्टोरी टाइम. एक बड़ी सिंपल सी स्टोरी मैं सुनाता हूँ आप लोगों को. तो एक गांव था, वहाँ एक किसान था. उसके पास एक बहुत बड़ी फील्ड थी जहां पर वो अपना एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस का काम करता था. अब उस फील्ड में एक बहुत बड़ा रॉक एक साइड में रखा हुआ था, बहुत बड़ा रॉक. तो जब स्टार्टिंग में उसने अपना बिजनेस शुरू करा फार्मिंग का, तो उसको उस जगह पर फार्मिंग करने की जरूरत नहीं थी जहां पर वो रॉक था. बट एज द बिजनेस ग्रोज स्लाइटली स्लोली, उसको प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाना पड़ा अपना, तो उसको अपनी फील्ड को और कवर करना पड़ा. और एक टाइम ऐसा आया जहां पर वो रॉक था, वहां पर भी उसे फार्मिंग करनी थी. बट वो इतना ह्यूज रॉक था कि उसको लगता था कि ये कैसे हटाया जाए, इसके लिए क्रेन्स चाहिए होगी, बहुत हेल्प चाहिए होगी. तो उसने फिर बहुत लोगों को बुलाने के लिए कोशिश करा. उसने कहा कि काफी गांव के लोगों को, अपने फ्रेंड्स को बुलाया. बहुत टाइम तक वो कोशिश करता रहा कि उसके बिना काम चल जाए, उसको रिमूव करे बिना. बट ही नेवर ट्राइड हिमसेल्फ. तो उसने फिर 2 महीने, 3 महीने, 4 महीने बाद काफी मशीन्स बुलाई, लेबर्स बुलाए कि चलो इस रॉक को हटाते हैं, बिकॉज आई कैन नॉट रिमूव इट माई सेल्फ. एंड व्हाट हैपेंड, जब सब लोग एक साथ इकट्ठा हुए उस रॉक को हटाने के लिए, तो वहां जो एक लेबर था वो गया, उसने एक हैमर लिया और अपने हैमर से ट्राई किया उस रॉक को हटाने के लिए. और उसने जैसे ही हैमर मारा, वो रॉक टूट गया. बिकॉज वो अंदर से पूरा रॉक हॉलो था, खाली था. तो जैसे ही उसने हैमर मारा, वो पूरा रॉक टूट गया और वो बहुत इजीली रिमूवेबल हो सकता था. बट कभी उस किसान ने, उस फार्मर ने ये ट्राई ही नहीं किया था. ही हैज अ थिंग इन हिज ब्रेन कि ये तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट है और ये काम मुझसे नहीं हो सकता. उसने कभी ट्राई भी नहीं करा. एंड जब एक नॉर्मल लेबर ने एक हैमर से ट्राई किया, तो उसने वो इजीली तोड़ दिया. और वो जितनी प्रिपरेशन थी, मशीन्स बुलाई, क्रेन बुलाई, लोग बुलाए, दैट वाज ऑफ नो यूज. इन द सेम वे, जब तक हम ट्राई नहीं करेंगे, तब तक पता कैसे चलेगा कि वी आर एबल टू दिस थिंग और दैट थिंग? सो बी कॉन्फिडेंट। मे बी देर वुड बी ऐसे लोग होंगे जो आपको बोल रहे होंगे कि ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट है सीए करना, एंड मे बी ऐसे काफी स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं जो कई बार होपलेस हो जाते हैं लोगों की बातों से कि इंटरमीडिएट नहीं हो पाएगा, फाउंडेशन हो गया, पता नहीं मेरा कैसे होगा, सब लोग तो मना करते हैं कि इतने कम मार्क्स आए हैं, सेकंड अटेम्प्ट नहीं निकलेगा। जब फर्स्ट टाइम नहीं निकला तो सेकंड टाइम आप कैसे क्लियर करोगे? इट वॉन्ट बी पॉसिबल। बट जस्ट डू नॉट थिंक अबाउट दैट। बी कॉन्फिडेंट, ट्राई इट, हो जाएगा। मे बी कई बार ऐसा होता है कि हम फर्स्ट टाइम एग्जाम देते हैं, हमें इंटरमीडिएट बहुत डिफिकल्ट लगता है, बिकॉज फाउंडेशन एंड इंटर हैव अ वेरी ह्यूज डिफरेंस। तो कई बार हम डिप्रेस्ड हो जाते हैं, कई बार हम डीमोटिवेट हो जाते हैं, खुद से भी और लोगों की बातों से ज्यादा, कि इंटर नहीं हुआ फर्स्ट टाइम में, एक ग्रुप भी नहीं निकला, अब कैसे करोगे? सो जस्ट डू नॉट बॉदर अबाउट इट, ट्राई इट योरसेल्फ। जब तक ट्राई नहीं करोगे पता कैसे चले? सो गिव योर बेस्ट शॉट। अपना जो ब्रेन में हमने बना रखा है कि ये नहीं हो सकता, वो ऐसा नहीं है। ट्राई इट, हो जाएगा। एक रियल प्रॉब्लम है लाइफ में, जैसे जब एलिफेंट होता है, एलिफेंट तो उसके छोटा बच्चा जब होता है तो उसको पैर में एक रस्सी बांध देते हैं, वो उसको तोड़ नहीं पाता। एंड यू नो व्हाट, उसको बचपन से आदत हो जाती है, उससे वो तोड़ने की कोशिश करता है तो उसके पैर में चोट लगती है, तो वो उसे तोड़ नहीं पाता। एंड रियलिटी में व्हाट हैपेंस, जब वो एलिफेंट बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है तब भी उसके ब्रेन में ना वो एक वॉल बनी होती है कि आई कैन नॉट डू दिस थिंग, और वो बड़ा होने के बाद उस रस्सी को इजिली तोड़ सकता है। बट वो कभी ट्राई नहीं करता, उसको लगता है नहीं ऐसा करने से लगती थी, तो ब्रेन में उसके बचपन से एक मेमोरी है कि फाइल ट्राई इट, मेरे को हर्ट हो जाएगा, तो वो फिर वो ट्राई करना ही छोड़ देता है। जबकि ही कैन डू इट इजिली व्हेन ही इज अ बिग एंड बल्की एलिफेंट। He did not try, he stopped trying. So that's what I am trying to explain you. Please be confident, you would be able to do it. तो मार्क्स कम आए हैं पिछले टाइम में, या आपको लगता है अभी टाइम कम है, यू हैव इनफ टाइम, गिव योर बेस्ट शॉट एंड यू विल बी सक्सीड। सो लेट मी सी इफ देयर इज एनी मोर क्वेरी, देन वी विल क्लोज दिस सेशन। सर, कार ओन्ड और मोर टू एम्प्लॉय, व्हाट इज दिस? Meena, hello sir, this is my first class. Please share the WhatsApp group link that technical team will share with you. And I guess in the last, yes, you can send a mail to a BOS and they will share the WhatsApp link. If company buy car, Kuldeep is asking, and provide to employee, and after end of 10th year, give employee, we will discuss that provision, Kuldeep. I have told in the class that that provision yet to be discussed. Okay, Mustafa, if we don't try to ride cycle, then how can we start that I can't ride cycle? Absolutely correct. Meanwhile, nobody knows I am doing CA except my parents and person who supports me. Yes, sir, जो तो स्टडी नहीं करेंगे। करेक्ट। तो किसी भी टॉपिक से डरना नहीं है, किसी भी सब्जेक्ट से नहीं डरना है। ट्राई इट, देयर आर वेज। थोड़ा ज्यादा मेहनत करना पड़ेगा कंपेयर्ड टू अदर स्टूडेंट, बट इट विल बी डन। Correct. No more query, I guess. Shamli is asking, sir, in case of perquisite, okay, that we have discussed. Thank you for motivating every time. I saw many students fail in third and fourth time in foundation, but clear inter both group. Yes, it happens. फाउंडेशन नहीं निकला एक बार में, इंटर 10 बार में निकलेगा, ऐसा कोई रीजन नहीं है। जस्ट गिव योर बेस्ट शॉट, यू वुड बी एबल टू क्लियर। फाइन, सो देयर इज नो मोर क्वेरी लेफ्ट, आई बिलीव। सो सर, कैन वी क्लोज द सेशन नाउ? When more than one motor car is provided, that has been written in the motor car per visit, note number 2. You can read it. If there would be any issue, we can discuss it later. That's what I was saying. Okay. I cannot ask MCQ regarding whatever we have taught today. It will take time to read you also. Okay, so Nisarg, can we close the session? My family elder also saw your class, is interested in tax and suggested me to learn from you. Thanks. Thank you, Kuldeep. Thanks for appreciation. And hello from my side to your family members. Okay.